What is up, dudes and dudettes of the internet? Today, in tribute of GTA 5 being released soon, I am actually going to show you how to do a graphic like this, a motion graphic like this. Now, it's going to be a lengthy tutorial, first of all, I apologize, but I like to talk and I like to explain things so anyone can understand it, so please bear with me. What you'll need is Photoshop, for sure, or at least some image editing program, and you'll also need a program like Adobe Premiere or Adobe After Effects. You can do the same thing in both programs, the things that I'll be doing, but I'll be using After Effects in this video. So if you're using Adobe Premiere Pro, just remember to animate the same exact things that I do, and everything will be grand. Let's dive in here. You're going to need two images. One is the background image. This is the desk I'm actually working at right now. And then you'll need a foreground image, the picture of you, something that looks badass, like, you know, GTA, you're about to steal a car, you just robbed a bank or something. You do not need a background, a green screen. I just did that for cropping reasons, so it's a little bit easier for me to crop. Be careful of light reflecting, like is happening right here, and you'll see later in the video, it actually turns out not in my favor. So let's go and dive into Photoshop and get going. Open up Photoshop. I'm going to File, Open. I'm going to go look for the image of me, which is right here. Very cool. And let's go ahead and completely edit this image. So I'm going to show you my whole editing image process, and hopefully you learn something from this itself. It could be its own tutorial. I'm going to crop myself out. Here's my background image. I'm going to double click it to unlock it because you can't do much with it when it's locked, just in case you want to. Hit Control J to duplicate that layer. I never edit the bottom layer. That's just standard workflow for any editors out there who are just starting out or something. So always going to edit your top image, and it's the same exact thing. It's just an exact copy. Alright, now what I'm going to do is go to Select, Color Range to select this green color, bring up the fuzziness a bit, just so I can cut out the majority of the green around me. Okay, click OK, and I can actually go Control X. Oop, no, that's too much. Select, Color Range, bring the fuzzy down just a bit, Control X. There we go. So it at least gets rid of a lot of green around me. It's not going to do a very good job just because my lighting was really horrible, but I mean, it does an okay job. Next thing I'm going to do is grab my quick selection. I just did that to get rid of a pretty good amount of green. Get my quick selection and select myself here. I grab my gun. I just want to make sure I grab myself just like that. Cool. Grab these little bits here. Make sure my whole gun is selected. Okay, make sure my eyeballs are selected. This little bit of hair over here is selected. Alright, and now I'm in Adobe Photoshop CC, so I have Refine Edge. If you're in Adobe Photoshop CS6, you also have Refine Edge. If not, it's cool. All you gotta do is hit Control J, and that'll actually duplicate you and get you out of here, okay? Out of this little layer here. So watch, Control J, and if I disable this bottom layer, there we go, I'm all cropped out, which looks cool. Actually, I'll just keep that. I'm not going to use Refine Edge just because it's not that big of a deal. We're going to actually make this into like a cartoon looking effect, so it's not that big of a deal. The next thing we're going to do is go to File, Place, find the background image that you picked. Alright, cool. I'm going to drop this under me. And I don't need these two bottom layers anymore because I already know what I'm going to do for this video. Alright, so these are the two things we need. I'm actually going to do some minor photo editing. So image, adjustments, levels, grab this color black eyedropper, and just click a dark part of me. There we go, cool, okay. Now image adjustments, curves, do the same thing, like that. I'm going to go to blue and drop down blue just a bit, get more color out of me. Alright, cool. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the background image here. Oop, right click and rasterize this. I just duplicated it. Rasterize it so we can actually go ahead. See, right click and rasterize right there. That way we can actually do adjustments. Without rasterizing, we can't do adjustments. Okay, so that was just really minor adjustment there, but very cool. So let's go ahead and turn me into a cartoon. Grab the layer of yourself, which is the top layer, it should be, and go to Filter, Filter Gallery, and go and drop down this artistic folder and go to Cutout. Cutout. I mean, you can do this with any effect you want. Go and experiment if you want. I'm going to click Cutout. Number of levels 8. Edge Simplicity 4 for me. Press Enter. Okay, and then Edge Fidelity 1. Now you see that I did have some green screen reflecting on me. Again, that's bad I couldn't crop it out perfectly because I had bad lighting, but just ignore that for now. This is just a tutorial, you know, just example purposes. Click OK. Very cool. So now I'm cartoonish. Do the same thing to the background layer, except we're going to change one number. So grab your background layer. Actually, it really depends what your background is and the look you're going for, okay? So you don't need my exact numbers. So I'm going to click my background layer, filter, filter gallery. Make this smaller again, my preview. That looks kind of cool right there, but I'm actually going to do edge simplicity, change that to 5, just because I like the way the list looks a little bit more. Click OK. Cool, so that's my background, and that's me. Now all we have to do is file and save this out. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, make a new folder. I'm going to name this Tutorial. That's how I spell tutorial, you know, very cool. Alright, I'm going to name this GTA, save, OK. Cool, so we're done with Photoshop. All we have to do now is open up Adobe After Effects. Now, if you are going to use Adobe Premiere Pro, Adobe Premiere to animate, make sure that you save each of these out as its own separate PNG layer. Okay, so see how I disabled the bottom one? File, Save As, PNG, and then click Save and do the same thing for this layer, or else it's not going to work right. So let's go and open up Adobe After Effects. And you'll get this window. You can just click Close, go to File, Import, File, go look for your Photoshop file that you made if you're going to edit in this program, Import, click OK. Alright, and now what it said is cool. So I have your Photoshop file in here. We even have all the layers. So all you got to do is double click this composition that says GTA. Oop, double click this little icon there. And it'll open it up in your program window. I'm actually going to fit this. There we go. Fit, so it fits everything. And there we go. Now the layers are actually in the exact order that they were in Photoshop. And now we are ready to animate. What's really cool is the way I set this up. The reason why I had you take a background image and a foreground image is because now we can animate them separately. So watch. Let me rename these really quick for you. To me and BG for background. So here's me. If I move this in the X position, look it, now I'm moving separately and it looks really cool. We do some really cool things with this. So let's go ahead and start the animation, okay? My composition, if I go to composition settings, is actually at 4 seconds 22 frames. That's just the timing that I liked, and that's what you saw in the example video. And the width and height, oops, I didn't change this crap. 1920, 1920 by 1080. Crap, I didn't change it. Dang it. Oh well. In Photoshop, what you'd actually do is go to crop 16 by 9, click the check mark, and then you go image, image size 1920 by 1080. Alright, so now I saved it out as the right thing, so I'm just going to open up After Effects again, just so it's 1080p. That's pretty important if you're going to upload to YouTube or something, if you want to use this as an intro. Close, File, Import, GTA. And now that I say that it's 1080p, now it should be 1080p right here. Composition settings. Yep, 1920 by 1080. Very cool. And again, my duration is 4 seconds by 22 frames. Okay, so let's go ahead and animate the layer of me. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, open up this layer, open up Transform, and go to Position. Click the Animate button right here. It's going to create a keyframe for you. Go to the end of the timeline. You can animate this just a bit. Just like that. See, subtly. See how much I moved it right here? Not much. If you move it a ton, you're like, oh, that looks cool. And you animate it, it moves too fast. It's way too fast. So, animate it just a bit to give it that subtle Rockstar GTA look. Just like that. See how it's moving just a bit? Looks so good. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is animate the scale. So, go back to frame 1, 0 over here at the beginning. Click the animation button for scale. Go all the way to the end, animate it just a bit. I'm going to animate to where my head doesn't go past the video, the end of the video. And then play it back. Very subtle effect, but I do get bigger. And because it's a cartoon effect, it doesn't really distort the image the way it looks too much. So it looks really nice. Very cool. So now we're done animating me. I'm going to close this up. So now we're going to go ahead and animate the background. So open up the background and scale. I want to scale this up just a bit. Just a bit. Maybe like that. 102%, not too much. I want a subtle animation here, okay? And my position, I want it to initially start, look over here on this side, on the left side of the video. See this little, like, bar there? That's where the end of the image is. I don't want any black space like that, so I'm going to butt it up against the end of the video. Click position, go to the end, and then look at the other side, the right side, and butt it up to the other side. Very cool, like that. Don't want any black space. Now if we play it, very subtle background animation, but it looks really cool. Gives it like a 3D popping out effect with your image here. Alright, the next thing I need to do is animate the opacity to make it darken up a bit, this background. So I'm going to go to frame 17 because this is where I liked it most. I'm looking over here at these yellow numbers. Click the opacity button. So now the first 17 frames or 16 frames, it's going to stay 100% opacity. Go to the very end. Bring this down to about 75%. It's going to darken it up just a bit. Now it's animating the opacity, how see-through it is. And since our background is actually black, it's just going to darken up the image. So if I play it through, you barely even notice how dark it is until it starts playing again. Boom. See how light it gets? So very cool, subtle animations. I love it. Next thing we need to do, and then it's the last thing, is add a blur effect to the background. So go over here to the Effects and Presets panel, type in GAU for Gaussian Blur. I'm going to drag this onto the background. Very cool. Open up this effects arrow, drop down arrow, drop down the Gaussian blur, and here's blurriness. Again at 17 frames. Make sure you're on 17 frames. That's where I like it, at least. It's totally up to you. You do not have to do how I do it, okay? This is your content, right? Animate button on blurriness. Go all the way to the end of the video and blur it up a bit. Just enough like that. I'm going to do about 6. And now, if we play this back, I'm growing, I'm getting bigger, I'm animating my position, the background's getting darker, it's animating to the side, it's getting blurry. Really, really cool GTA looking effect right here. And we did that all from the beginning. From the very beginning, guys. You guys saw the original pictures. Very cool. So now, how do we export this so you can use it? File, export, add to render queue. What you're going to do is output module, click this lossless, or these yellow letters here. I like to use QuickTime. I just have a habit of using QuickTime. It does create some big file sizes sometimes, so be aware of that. Click OK, and then output to. This is where you want to save it to, so go to desktop or wherever you want to save it to. We can do awesome GTA effect. Alright, click save, and this is going to be the name of the file, and desktop is where it's going to be saved. Now we're ready to click render. Render it out, and since it's only about 5 seconds, roughly about 5 seconds, almost 5 seconds, the render should go pretty quick. Now this is 1080p, so very cool. There we go. Now if I bring this all down, we're finished. This is the final product. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry if this video was way too long. I just thought it was really cool. It's an effect that I just played around with while fanboying and just kind of in awe about GTA 5 coming out. I'm super excited. Let me know in the comments if you're going to grab the game, if you like this effect, if you want to see some more effect videos like this. I plan to do some more in the future. So there you go, guys. Thank you for watching. Remember to thumb up, comment, subscribe, share. Very cool stuff. I'll catch you guys in a later video. Peace.